All right, how you doing there, government students? I want to give you a short lecture on the study that we're doing this week, which is the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. I don't know if you saw this, but our Attorney General for the United States of America, Attorney Bill Barr, is actually investigating states and local governments to make sure that they're not violating the civil liberties of the American people with the stay-at-home orders. Now, if you're not familiar with it, we've seen our governments around the country really using power that they have been explicitly prohibited from using in our Constitution. And that's what we're studying this week, which is the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment says the following. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. It is illegal for Congress to prohibit the free exercise of your First Amendment right. And unfortunately, some of the states apparently haven't read that in the Constitution. This is an article from Mississippi, and I could find many more articles online. But the article says this. Here it comes any moment. Mississippi police issue $500 tickets to drive-in church services who attendees to drive-in church services. Now, I don't know if you know what a drive-in church service is, but basically the preacher preaches on the radio, you drive up with your car, you have your windows open, you don't get out, you don't talk to other people, and other people are in their cars, and everybody's in the car parking lot so they can see each other, and they can feel like they're worshiping together. Or maybe the preacher speaks through some sort of megaphone. But in Mississippi, they were saying, well, that's illegal. Problem is the First Amendment of the Constitution says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So you see, our government has never been given the authority to regulate religious expression, not during times of war, not during times of depression, and not during times of the coronavirus. And that's why the Attorney General of the United States is ordering the Department of Justice to investigate and make sure that people's civil liberties have not been violated. In addition to that part of the First Amendment, it also says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and petition their government for a redress of grievances. Well, unfortunately, in California, apparently Gavin Newsom hasn't read the Constitution, because recently thousands of Californians went to Sacramento, to the Capitol, to protest the lockdown. These people have lost their businesses. They don't agree that this is the appropriate course of action in response to the coronavirus. You may agree, you may not agree. But what's not up for discussion is that they have the constitutional protection to, once again, peaceably assemble and petition their governments for a redress of grievance. In other words, in our Constitution, there are powers that we have simply forbidden the government from exercising. And many of those powers have to do with political speech. Our government, whether it's state, local, or federal, is absolutely prohibited by the people through the Constitution from writing any laws that would limit your ability to petition the government. But if you read the newspapers, you'll see it says CHP bans protests at California Capitol after rally against Newsom's stay-at-home order. So there are people who don't think this is a good idea. There are people that don't agree their businesses should be shut down or they shouldn't be allowed to travel or go outside of their homes or see their families. And they don't like the government trying to issue these orders. And so they went to Sacramento, and they've been going all across the country, in all the capitals in the nation. There's been something like 25, 29 states that have had these kinds of rallies. But in California, Gavin Newsom has said you can't protest on the Capitol any longer. And so what he's doing is he's actually violating the civil liberties of the California people. Now, he would say he has a good reason. But as a government student, you have to ask yourself, is there a threat or a danger of allowing elected officials to so flagrantly violate our First Amendment rights? Is it possible that if they take away our liberties in this case, they could do it again in another case? Is it possible that you might actually get some bad people, like the bad guy in Star Wars, and he gets into power and he uses a crisis like the coronavirus in the future to take away liberties but never gives them back? Is that possible? Is that a possibility? Have you ever heard of Hitler? Of course it is. There's always bad people in history who love to use a crisis to take away your freedom and not give them back. And that's why our founding fathers specifically prohibited any government at any time, anywhere, from touching these rights. And unfortunately, in our country, it's happening. In fact, not only is the government doing it, but private businesses are doing it, like YouTube. Recently, YouTube, they banned a video that had gone viral. It got millions and millions of views. I actually didn't watch it, but I heard about it because of the suppression of the speech. But apparently there were two doctors, very intelligent doctors, who have been treating patients at hospitals during the coronavirus crisis. And these doctors had done research, and they had come to the conclusion that the numbers that the government was using were not correct, and that the numbers that are more accurate don't really justify the lockdown that we're in. And this video went viral, like I said. And so here's what happened. According to KTLA, it says dubious COVID-19 claims by Bakersfield doctors condemned by health experts. YouTube removes videos. So I have a question. If these people are just dubious and what they're claiming is not true, then why can't the video be on YouTube? Why is YouTube suppressing the freedom of speech of these people? Why isn't YouTube allowing you and me to hear what they say and make up our own minds, instead of listening to KTLA tell us what they are? Dubious. Not exactly a fair and balanced news article. Now, I don't know what they say, and it may be crazy, maybe not, but I certainly am very jealous for my freedom of speech. I'm very jealous for my right to petition the government, and I'm very jealous for my freedom of religion, and I'm probably not wild in thinking that you are too. You like freedom. And so right now, in the middle of this fear, people are giving up their freedoms in the hopes of gaining some sense of security. And the history that we've all learned teaches us that when you give up your freedoms, it's hard to get them back. And so as a government student, ask yourself this question. Are you comfortable with your government limiting the people of California so that they cannot protest? Are you comfortable with your government ticketing people who do drive-up services? Are you comfortable with YouTube suppressing videos so that you can't hear somebody's opinion on this very controversial topic? If you're not comfortable with that, then I would encourage you to continue to read and pay attention to other violations of civil liberties and reach out to your local official and say, hey, I'm concerned that our civil liberties are being taken in a rush to protect everybody from this virus. On the other hand, if you think that Governor Newsom and local officials are doing a great job and their response to the coronavirus crisis has been right on, then I would encourage you to reach out to them and tell them good job. Tell them that you're going to reward them with your vote when the next election comes around. The point is that you have to be asking questions. You have to be engaging politically, because this is a major event in history. The power that the government is exercising is greater than at any time in American history. And there's real questions about the limits of government power and where our civil liberties fit into this. And I want to encourage you to read, to watch, to discuss, to talk with your parents, and think about the role of government in the middle of this global pandemic. It's a great case study for your government class. And like I said, if you like what government officials are doing, it's not hard to reach out to them and say, keep it up. And if you don't like what they're doing and you want them to change something, reach out to them and say, hey, knock it off. But make sure that whatever you say, it's based upon the Constitution. It's based upon the limitations and the specific powers that we've given our government in the Constitution. You've learned a lot about those powers. You've learned about the powers we've given the legislature. You've learned about the powers we've given the president. And now you're learning about the limitations that we have placed on all governments and the liberties that we never lose and we never surrender, no matter what the circumstances. So I hope this has been provocative and it's made you think. If you have more questions, if you'd like to talk about something, if I've missed something, or if there's a cool article or video you saw, you can send it to me via Remind. And we're going to talk some more about it at our next class meeting, which is tomorrow, 12:30 on YouTube Live. All right, government students, I'll talk to you soon.